Oh, it worked. Okay. Hello, 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 and welcome to Worthy Wednesday. Listen, I don't even know what time it is. It is 6:08. You guys, and I am live on Instagram. I need to tell Gianna to make a post. Anyway, I'm live on Instagram because Facebook, they keep saying that there is a problem with the live function. Oh, Father, Father, Father. You guys, and I literally cannot. I was on time and everything. I logged on 2 minutes before and it was like, sorry, cannot perform function. Sorry. I was like, wait, what? Anyway, so welcome to Worthy Wednesday. My prayer is that I'm going to be able to save this video and post it to my Facebook group. I guess one day I'll figure out how to stream all of them at the same time. But I guess I'd have to get another phone because I mean, I don't even know how I would do that. I guess I could do it one on my computer, one on my phone. Anyway, I digress. It's too much work. So welcome to Worthy Wednesday. The sun is shining today in beautiful Vancouver. And I am really excited about that. Y'all, I went to see my niece. She had a tournament and it was in Viva Las Vegas. And well, my sister was there too, obviously. Anyway, but we went to Vegas and y'all, I forgot how much I actually love the sun. Okay, actually, I have not forgotten how much I love it. I freaking love the sun. And it was a little chilly there because it was a little breezy, even though it was like 88 and it was a little breezy. But the third day, it was so warm. I was like, oh, okay, bring on the sun. So y'all know I almost cried when I flew back home and it was raining. I said, Father in heaven. But anyway, my niece got injured, bless her heart, but she's doing well. Thank you, Jesus. But it was so fun to see them and my sister and the team and all that stuff. So I'm happy to be back and I'm happy that the sun is shining today. Praise the Lamb. Anyway, y'all, so the reason why I was telling you that story is because, you know, when you take off from work, well, some of y'all don't know, but most of us know what happens when you take off from work. And then you go back to work, it takes you a couple of days to kind of get back in the flow and all that stuff. And so, Lord have mercy, I literally had to take a nap today because I was so tired. Because y'all know, anyway, I go to work at 3:45 in the morning and it was a long time and I was not ready for that yet. But let me get my notebook. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, so there are just a few things I want to talk about and then I'm going to hang up. Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm not going to hang up. I'm going to end the video. But I wanted to remind you guys that, I had four trains of thought at the same time. Anyway, but I wanted to remind you that coming soon, I want to talk about time, Time. I want to spend the entire month of June, which will start next Wednesday, if y'all can believe that, huh? Next Wednesday will be the first Wednesday in June of 2021. Thank God we have made it. Anyway, so I want to spend the whole month talking about time because I think it's a lesson really that I believe is something that we should never get tired of learning about. We should never get tired of hearing about how we spend our time, where we spend our time, with whom and with what we spend our time, because your time is the only thing that you can't ever get back in your life. And I find that to be so interesting. I mean, I think sometimes we say you can reclaim your youth, and you can, because I think your mindset completely has everything to do with that. But time is one of those things, no matter if you realize this when you're 6, 16, 26, 56, or 96, you'll only be that age once. You'll only have that time once. You'll only have those experiences once. And I'm really learning the value of time, and I really want to take some time, no pun intended, and share with y'all the importance of time and what it means and how we need to be aware of the time that we are spending and why and how are we investing the time that the Lord has so graciously provided, not just to us, but to everyone on the planet, and why we need to be good stewards of our time. So remember, I told you that there are 1,440 minutes in a day. Now, that doesn't even sound like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about it, it doesn't sound like a lot of time. But when you say it's 24 hours in a day, you're like, oh my gosh, I can do this. But when you say it's only 1,440 minutes, you're just like, wait, if I spend 8 hours or 480 minutes, I've already spent a third of my day doing something that maybe I don't necessarily want to do. So we'll start that next week, and we'll talk about TIME, time. So today is May, I think today is the 26th. Yes, so today is May 26th, 2021. So, worthy women, I want to take just a moment. I really felt like I didn't have anything to share. Sometimes when I say that, I just think to myself, girl, get out of here. But have you ever felt like there are times in your life, and I think this is exactly why I felt like that, because that's the purpose of it. But have you ever felt like that there are times in your life that you don't know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, or where you're supposed to be going, or how you're supposed to be getting there? And it's not like you feel like you're wandering, but what you really feel like is, I'm not sure if this direction is the right direction. I'm not sure if this company, I'm not sure if this position, I'm not sure if this relationship, I'm not even sure if this location where I live is exactly where I am supposed to be at this time in my life. And over the course of the last couple of months after moving and doing different things, I've found myself often wondering, what exactly am I supposed to be doing, and when am I going to figure that out, or when is the Lord going to tell me so I can start doing it and changing some circumstances and situations. However, one thing that I have discovered on this journey, and that's really what I want to share with you tonight, is I have learned, sometimes because I'm willing to learn a lesson, but most times, I'll tell you, worthy women, that's why 2021 is the year of me, not you, it's me. But most of the time I have learned a lesson because I'm stubborn, okay? And I don't like to be told what to do. And I don't like for myself not to have control. So I have had to learn some lessons because I'm hard-headed. And I will tell you that some of those lessons have made a lifelong impact on me, because I refused basically to put down my pride and make a different decision in relationship to where I was at that particular time in my life. So tonight I thought it would be good for me to talk about me and not y'all, in the sense of understanding that every place that you were in, every moment that you were in, there was always a purpose and there is always direction. But the question is whether or not you, but me, if I am actually seeking the answer, if I'm seeking what I want to be in that particular time, season, or place. And so I thought it would be really appropriate and timely as we approach the end of May, and so many graduations, so many celebrations. Oh my gosh, it just excites me. My niece graduates from middle school, or she gets promoted. Sorry, in middle school you get promoted to high school. And so I'm so excited for everyone that is moving and transitioning and going into new places and times in their life. But I think when you become an adult, and adult, I mean you've finished with college and graduate school, and you're really working and you're trying to progress, I think those are the times that I have questioned the most. Like, what am I doing though? Why am I in this situation? Like, why am I working here? Or why do I live here? Or what's the purpose of this? Or why can't I get this money together? Or why is this bill still haunting me after 10 years? Just different things. So anyway, I thought it would be very prudent of me to talk about that tonight, just because I believe as time moves forward, because that's what time does. It only moves forward. And what I've discovered in those moments of my life where I've been questioning a lot of the places and a lot of the situations and even some of the circumstances that I have been in. And let me take a sidebar caveat right here, worthy women. I find it difficult at times to be accountable to myself. I don't know if y'all do, but it's fine. So I'll just talk about me so y'all don't have to worry about that. But there are some times that I feel almost mad. That's the best word I can use right now, that I actually have to be accountable to myself and the choices that I've made regarding a situation that I might presently be in. And 9 times out of 10, I'm upset about that because I feel like The only reason that I'm in this particular situation is because of other people, and because other people won't do exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Therefore, I have to make different decisions in order to accommodate for them. Now, I know you know this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. That has nothing to do with you. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me, because we always tend to pass the buck to other people. Maybe not you, but sometimes I do. And I feel like at times that the reason why my life is in a certain place is because of the circumstances or the people that I'm around. But actually what I've learned is the reason why it's in a certain situation or why I'm experiencing certain things actually come back to me and my accountability. And that's it. And so I thought to myself, as I go back from this sidebar to the main thing, that, well, then why do I get upset when I'm in a certain situation? I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't understand why this is happening. What is the purpose of this? I'm ready for it to be over. I actually had to go back to accountability. And I thought to myself, worthy women, I said, I wonder if I'm the only person that ever struggles a little bit. Well, we know that true word is cognitive dissonance. If I'm the only one that has cognitive dissonance about accountability. And listen, I said absolutely not, because the reality, if we just want to tell the truth, the reality of certain circumstances in my life are just divinely allowed. There are some things that enter that we don't have any control over. But those are the things that we can default to the Lord and he'll take care of them. No problem. Hands down, he'll take care of everything, actually. But I'm really talking about tonight the circumstances and the decisions that we make that actually have everything to do with the choices that I've made and the choices that I continue to make, although I want to quantify the decisions I've made based on the actions of other people, therefore relieving me of all accountability. So I said to myself, I wonder what it's going to take for me to get out of this funk almost, because I feel like I'm kind of sort of in a funk. And I just said, well, is it because I don't want to ask for help? Is it because I don't think I need help? Is it actually because I don't think anyone is qualified to help me? Or is it that the reality of the situation in my life is due to my inability to admit, number one, that I am responsible for some of the things that are occurring in my life, and number two, I certainly need to exercise accountability in order to change those circumstances. Well, of course, I defaulted to none of those. Hello, I'm like, I don't have anything to do with that. If people get on my nerves and I say some words that probably aren't pleasant to them, well, it's because they don't know how to speak to me. If something happens and I put in the Tickle Me Tuesday about, people speed past you at the light and you get to the light, and literally Kermit the Frog, his face was my face. Cause I look at people like, did you really just drive around me at 98 and get stuck at this traffic light? I mean, where are you going, sir or ma'am? Anyway, or is it when I look at the circumstances regarding my life, do I begin to think, well, the only reason why I'm in this is because of this, and this, or it's because of what my parents did, or it's because I didn't get to go to college and do what I wanted to do, or it's because I had to become a parent, or it's because I didn't get the job I was really, qualified for. I started analyzing whether or not I actually practiced accountability for myself. And worthy women, I think one thing that really helps me sometimes, is I recognize that this is not a struggle. Did y'all know that? Accountability is not a struggle, you guys. The reason why it is a struggle, and the reason why we say that it is because we just don't want to do it. If I don't want to do something, and maybe because I'm older now, I used to have a very difficult time telling people I didn't want to come to something, or I didn't want to help them, or I didn't want to be involved, because I felt like it was the right thing to do. And I believed that, I should always be willing to help people. But as I've gotten older, I've just come to the bottom line conclusion that if I don't want to do it, I'm not doing it. If I don't want to be bothered by you, listen, I'm not going to be bothered by you. If I don't want to go out to eat with you because I don't really like you like that, I'm not going to do it. But I wonder why it's so much easier to take something that I am not invested in, or to take something that offends me and immediately release myself from being involved or around that particular person or circumstance. But when it comes to me specifically, I act like I am having World War I or World War II because I don't want to talk about why I need to exercise that same level of accountability for stuff that I need to be responsible for or stuff that I need to be accountable for. So anyway, I've discovered, just this week that it's really difficult for me. So I have some on my eyelash. It's really difficult for me to be accountable when I am confronted with, Kari, why don't you just ask for help? Or why don't you seek the Lord about that? Or why don't you take time and step back and reevaluate and plan and, get yourself prepared for what you think you might be interested in? I'm just like, well, I don't know, because I don't have time for that. And I have found myself saying I don't have time for that as an excuse. I mean, maybe y'all don't say that. It's fine, because I'm just talking about me, so y'all can, if you find yourself in there, then okay? But I have found in my life, worthy women, that if it's something that I'm interested in, I'm telling you, I will make time for it and I will find out every aspect of that particular thing in order for me to be 100% prepared, responsible, and accountable. But if it's not something that I'm interested in, or if I know that this particular circumstance or situation is going to challenge me and force me to mature in areas that I necessarily don't want to be matured in quite yet, let me raise my hand, because I do have some areas where I'm like, I'm not going to be a big girl there. I'm going to be petty. Oh, Father, help me. There are some situations where I know that my eyes say stuff and my mouth doesn't have to say anything. Yeah, I need to change that. You guys, that's a level of accountability. And I'm telling you that there are times that because of circumstances in my life, I have not shied away from accountability. I have just bypassed it. And I'm not sure if either of y'all has ever bypassed accountability, because that's what I'm learning right now. And I say that learning, ing, the gerund form, means that it's constantly going and you're continuing in it. I'm saying that because you never stop learning how to be accountable, because there are different levels of accountability. There are different waves of it. When you're 6, the accountability you have is telling the truth, tying your shoe, doing your homework, being a good student, being polite, practicing your manners, all these things. When you're 16 and you can drive a car, the level of accountability is, being in contact with your parents. Hi, Mom and Dad, I made it. We're going to be here until this time. Taking care of your grades, if you play sports, keeping up with that, being on top of your performance, if you work at children's church, all of these things. When you're 24 and you graduate from college, the level of accountability you have is, now I'm getting my first job, I need to look for my first house. And you go through all of these different levels of accountability, and accountability requires that you mature at each stage. And so I begin to ask myself, why is it that I have a difficulty in being accountable in certain age stages of maturity? Because see, I'm already past all those stages I mentioned, obviously, because I'm older than that. But I wonder why I have a difficult time being accountable. I actually wonder why that's even a problem, because I'm an adult. And then, worthy women, it hit me. Because see, as adults, we know how to get out of accountability. See, I'm going to bring it home right to you. When you're a child, your parents are the accountability meter. They slap you with accountability. I don't mean physically. I mean, in a literal sense, they bring it right to your door. If you ate a cookie and you weren't supposed to, your mom caught you. She comes in the kitchen and says, "Did you eat a cookie?" You don't have but one choice. Okay. Now, we don't have to be taught to lie. We have to be taught to tell the truth. But when she says, "Did you eat a cookie?" I mean, the only choice, let me just tell you, in my house growing up with Brother Leroy and Sister Cynthia, the true choice was, "Yes, ma'am, I did eat that cookie." However, because I don't want to be accountable, because see, sometimes accountability means you have to accept the consequences of your decision. You have to accept that the reason why I am in this circumstance is because I refuse to deal with my pride, or I refuse to deal with hurt. I refuse to deal with rejection. I refuse to deal with anger. See, when we make the decision to be accountable in our mind, then those that are around us that help us be accountable then can say, because of your level of maturity, you have now been promoted. You have now graduated to the next level because you were willing to make yourself accountable. So anyway, back to the cookie illustration. If you say, yes, ma'am, I did eat that cookie. Okay, now here's what gets me. And maybe y'all can relate to this. If you tell the truth, sometimes you still got in trouble. What? Who invented that? Listen to me. I need to know who invented that. Wait, Mom, I just told you the truth. Why am I still in trouble? Well, Karee, you're still in trouble because you did something that you were not supposed to do. Not that I can't have cookies. See, we get distracted and then we bypass what the true issue is. We think the issue is that we can't have cookies. No, the issue is you weren't supposed to have a cookie then. Okay, hold on. Let me bring it home even tighter than that. So you decide that you want to joyride in your mom and dad's car and they catch you. So then you admit to doing it, but you still get in trouble. Why? Not because you can't drive the car, but because you weren't supposed to be driving it right then. So the consequence you have, number one, for your accountability is you don't get the privilege of driving for a certain amount of time. And you might also have some other consequences for that. But see, it's in those moments that we understand why we can't do certain things. Well, why is it, worthy women? I don't know. And I honestly, I'm not going to talk about you. I'm just going to talk about me right now. Why is it that when we do that as adults, we don't understand why we're experiencing the consequence? I mean, come on, y'all. If you walk up to somebody at work and they say something that you don't like and you use profanity, number one, which is not allowed at work. I'm sure it doesn't matter where you work. It's not allowed. And you say words to them that are not, first of all, professional. They're not courteous. They're not polite. They can create a hostile work environment, which is in the lane of harassment, which is really bad. But if you create that hostile work environment and then you get reprimanded or written up, or God forbid, you might even get terminated because you made a decision to use profanity at work because somebody offended you, because their words caused you to make a decision like you had to make standing there in the kitchen after you ate the cookie and you chose the wrong choice. Now, I'm not talking about y'all at all. I'm just literally talking about me because this actually happened to me at work. I had it was a gentleman anyway, this particular gentleman, he really has a problem. I'm not even exaggerating. Like, he is angry a lot. Okay. And, my belief system is if you are angry, you should not be at work because nobody wants to be around that. I mean, I don't. Let me just talk about me. I don't know what y'all do. I don't like angry people. I don't like grumpy people. It's already 3:45 in the morning. You better go ahead and say good morning. And say it with a smile on your face. I digress. Anyway, so he almost ran me over with this pallet jack. And I was like, hey, maybe you could have waited just a minute. And then I would have moved out of the way because it's a high traffic area where we were. He was like, you don't know what you're talking about. Y'all, I am not exact. Like, he literally started yelling. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, first of all, you don't have to yell. It's fine. I was just saying if you would have given me 2 minutes. And he was like, you don't do it. Now, listen, y'all. I'm not exact. He was yelling. And I was just like, first of all, sir, why are you yelling? And he was like, you don't do anything anyway. And he was like, you want to just shut the bleep. I was like, oh, America. So my first thought was to run him over with my pallet jack. I'm going to just keep it 100. My second thought was after he was on the ground with my pallet jack, I would continue to run him over until he made a different choice. My third thought. Now, this how far I'm going down the list. Now, y'all know I should be thinking about, oh, I need to extend grace. I need to extend mercy. It's a negative for me, ghostwriter. Those are not the first two thoughts I had. My third thought, finally, was the right choice, Kari. What you need to do is calmly tell him, you don't have the right to say that to me, and I'm going to report it. So that's exactly what I did. He was like, I don't give an F what you do. I was like, Father in heaven. Anyway, I just kept walking, and I'm telling you, at a different time in my life, Kari would have done option 1 and 2. Anyway, so I had to go, did all that, we had to write a complaint. Like, it was a big deal. I had to file all this stuff. Anyway, he got in trouble, which is fine with me. I mean, it was his consequence, and I'm fine. But I'm telling you the reality here, that if I would have made the choice of the cookie jar, that I don't want to be accountable. What I want is revenge. What I want is to repay people for what they've done for me. What I want is for people to suffer the way that they have made me suffer. What I want is to inflict the same level of hurt and greater on them for the hurt that you've caused me. What I want is to get even. Because why would I want to do anything other than that? I don't want to be right. I don't want to be loving. I don't want to be gracious. I want to get even. Now, the reason why I'm saying I is because I know no one else does that. No one else has those thoughts. It's just me. But I recognized, worthy women, that the moments where I am completely unsure about where I am and what I'm supposed to be doing, I've recognized that just like when that gentleman literally cut the fool, I had one choice to make. And when you are walking through your life, the only choice that you have is accountability. And I don't mean the accountability that makes you look good every single time. Because when you are accountable, you don't have to worry about how you look or how the truth sounds or what is the result of you being accountable, because it will always work for your good. What I'm talking about is the fear of being accountable because you will be exposed. Now, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about me. When you are exposed, there is a level of vulnerability. There is a level of fear. And there is also a level of rejection that as women, we do not want to experience. I'm going to just raise my hand. I don't want none of that in my life. Okay. But in order for me to grow, in order for me to be mature, I have to recognize that if I choose the truth, if I choose accountability, the fear of being rejected is destroyed. The fear of being unloved is rejected. The fear of being isolated is rejected. Why? Why? Because the truth creates, I want like a cocoon of protection around you when you use it. I read a sign the other day that said, the truth does not worry about having anyone or anything defend it, but a lie will always scream not guilty. And I thought, holy crap. If you tell the truth, it doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter if they agree. It doesn't matter if they think it's not right. The truth doesn't need a defense. It doesn't need anyone to go around trying to prove exactly why what I told you is the truth. And so I relate that back to me. That if I am in a place in my life that I really don't understand what the purpose is or why I'm in it, or can you just get me out of it? Let me just tell you the truth. I need to go back and say, where am I not being accountable? Is it in my character? Is it in my integrity? Is it in the choices that I'm making with my finances, with my relationships, with my personal relationship with the Lord? If you serve him, I'm learning even in this moment that the best way to change something is to acknowledge that you need to be accountable to it. Y'all, if I like to eat ice cream 10 times a day, I need to stop that. Number one, it's probably not healthy. I mean, and if you can't tolerate dairy, then you know you shouldn't be eating ice cream 10 times a day. But why do we walk around making excuses like that guy and start yelling at people for something that you're doing? What happened to just admitting that you did it? Cree, did you eat 10 gallons of ice cream? Well, I don't like your dress. And you always are in my business. And why are you always talking to me? Cree, did you eat 10 gallons of ice cream? Why can't we just be accountable? Worthy women, why do I, not you, but why do I choose how I want to be accountable? And then the thing that gets me even more about accountability is I have thought at times, well, I can be 70% accountable to the truth. And then the other 30%, I'm going to go do whatever I want. I do that. I know no one else does it. I do that because there are times that what I really want to occur only works for me. And I'm like, well, if I completely come out and tell the truth right here, like, then I won't get to do XYZ 1, 2, 3. But here's the truth, in case you were wondering. If you're not honest, I mean, how many times should I say that? If you are not honest, because we already talked about honesty, TBH. If you are not honest, it doesn't matter if you're 70% accountable. You're 100% guilty. Accountability is owning up to the truth and then executing the truth and riding out whatever consequence comes with the choice and the decision that you've made. So I want to challenge you tonight, worthy women, honestly, for the rest of the month, which isn't that many days from now, probably 5 or 6, to really re-examine where you are in accountability. I think it's difficult for women, and I can only speak for myself, especially in the realm of relationships. There's so many questions, there are so many what ifs, and some of the things that you walk through in a relationship, you might not ever get the answer to, perhaps because you're no longer with that person, or perhaps because you have become so angry, or because you've become so distraught at the circumstances that you've experienced that you have changed how you process people in relationships with you, and you hold them to this invisible accountability that they can never reach, number one, because they're not that other person. And number two, it becomes a mechanism that we will say it's for coping purposes, but honestly, it's to control. And I'm only telling you that because one of the most important relationships that you'll have outside of the relationship you have with God is the one that you have with yourself. So in order to be your best worthy self, and here's the beauty of that, even when you're not being accountable, you're still worthy. Thanks be to God. Even when you're not being accountable, you are still valued. You are still loved. You are still more than a conqueror. You are absolutely everything you are supposed to be, even when you are not practicing accountability. But what would your life be like? Heck, what would my life, what would the next 5 minutes be like, worthy women, if I decided that from this moment forward, for the rest of my days, at least 80 more years, that's what I'm banking on, unless Jesus comes back before then. But anyway, at least 80 more years. What would my life really be like if I lived in a place of authentic accountability, because I always want to say yes to the truth. I always want to say yes, even when it's difficult, even when it's hard, even when tears might roll down my face. I still want the truth. I don't know, but I'm telling you, that's where I'm living right now. And I'm going to be working on that, I'm sure, until I go to heaven. Because there is no place that you reach in your life that you were never not required to be accountable. This is Worthy Wednesday. And I'm actually happy to do it on Instagram. And I'll be saving this video and putting it on Facebook. But let's practice accountability this week, worthy women. I'll see you again.